Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 3rd. Today we will continue to have consistent lightning across the Great Basin in most of the region. The only exception will be parts of western Nevada where drier air will start moving in and we will see winds increase along the Sierra front into far western Nevada. Otherwise, thunderstorms will be pretty widespread. We already have showers this morning stretching from the Arizona Strip north across Utah into eastern Idaho and Wyoming. These thunderstorms over the eastern side of the Great Basin will be on the wetter side, but we'll still see some areas that see less than 1/10 of an inch of precipitation, although relative humidity this morning is above 40 or 50%. Further west, we'll see more widely scattered thunderstorms, and these thunderstorms that move across parts of central northern Nevada up into Idaho will be occurring overnight tonight into early Friday morning as well as this afternoon. So that'll be something to watch during the overnight hours into early tomorrow. Otherwise, by tomorrow, the focus for thunderstorms will be over the northern half of the region with definitely wetter thunderstorms across Idaho and Wyoming, and we'll probably see fairly widespread wetting rains across central Idaho. However, we have drier air moving across much of Nevada and Utah going into Friday, and winds will be on the increase across most areas of Nevada and Utah. So we'll see widespread gusty winds above 35 miles per hour with relative humidity dropping back down into the single digits and low teens. So for Friday, for the 4th, again, we will see those windy conditions. So significant fire potential is expected both with the wind and dry conditions and also after the lightning and also with any recreational activities. As we move into Saturday, the winds will be on the decrease, but still will remain breezy over parts of eastern Nevada into Utah, with possibly a few thunderstorms remaining in the far north, but otherwise warmer and drier conditions are expected through much of the weekend into early next week. Precipitation over the last 24 hours, you can see here on the left, the most significant precipitation was in the far south with thunderstorms that were occurring early yesterday morning. We saw some areas in the south that got over a ½ inch of rainfall. Otherwise, we saw some spotty areas of heavier precipitation both in the Sierra, southern Utah, and up into central Idaho. The rest of the region generally saw light amounts of precipitation of less than 1/10 of an inch. And you can see the lightning here on the right. Most of it was around the periphery of the Great Basin with just more isolated activity within the interior. Yesterday across the Great Basin, moderate initial attack with 19 new fires for over 360 acres with over 10,000 acres of growth on our large fires. So we still have large fires in parts of southern part of the Ely district over into southern Utah and even up into Idaho. Otherwise, you can see the initial attack fires across the region. Over the last 7 to 14 days, aside from the moisture that's moved in within the last couple of days over southern and mainly eastern areas of the Great Basin and in the far west, you can see generally below normal precipitation, but again, that is definitely changing day by day as we continue with thunderstorms. The ERC percentile map from yesterday shows definitely some moderation of the fire danger over parts of southern and central Nevada. So ERCs have gone down with the moisture yesterday and are below the 50th percentile. This will be fairly short-lived with warmer and drier and breezy conditions moving in, but definitely a temporary reprieve for parts of those areas. Otherwise, even in Utah, ERCs have come down, but are still above the 80th to 90th percentile with spots above the 97th percentile. And fuels have gotten more critical up in the north with less moisture overall, but that trend will definitely reverse going through the next couple of days as moisture continues to spread north before things dry out. Looking at 100-hour fuel moistures in some of our drier spots and also where we've had large fires or currently have large fires, 100-hour fuel moistures have been at record minimums for the time of year. Our satellite loop from this morning shows the extensive cloud cover over the eastern half of the Great Basin with those ongoing early morning showers. Very little lightning this morning, but we will see that increase this afternoon, especially in some of the clear spots as well. Smoke forecast, generally very little smoke across the region today. We've seen some decreasing fire behavior with some of the moisture. But on Friday, we are expecting an increase in smoke from a fire in Southern California, so we could see that overspread much of the southern half of the Great Basin. So for later today, we have, again, a weak trough off the coast, moisture still in place, so plenty of opportunity for those showers and thunderstorms. The main concerns for high risk will be over western areas today in northwest Nevada and parts of northern Nevada, both today and tonight, as lightning moves across some of those areas that are still critical and haven't had much lightning activity. Also, high risk for wind over the Sierra front into western Nevada today as winds pick up in that 30 to 35 mile per hour gust range. Could see some gusts to 40 miles per hour as the relative humidity starts to drop. You can see on the transport winds, those gusty winds mainly along the Sierra front. Anything else really across the region will be gusty outflow winds. Relative humidity will start decreasing in the west today, still kind of remain in the low to mid-teens, so not really back down in those single digits quite yet, but definitely drying out as those winds increase, and then the moisture remains elevated in the north and over the eastern half of the basin today. Looking at temperatures, we will see temperatures generally in the 80s to low 90s across the region, and you can see the scattering amount of lightning across many areas today. As we move into Friday for the 4th, we will see again that drier air spread across much of Nevada and Utah with increasing winds as that trough moves into the Pacific Northwest. Still moisture in the north. Again, we expect more of those wetting rains up in Idaho. But we do have quite a few areas of high risk for gusty winds and low humidity on Friday, both over western and northwest Nevada and the Sierra front, and also over central areas into eastern Nevada and western Utah. Again, we expect pretty breezy winds really across all areas, but these are where the winds will be the strongest and relative humidity the lowest. And you can see that here on the transport winds, most of those gusts over 35 or 40 miles per hour, with relative humidity dropping back down into the single digits and low teens. So definitely critical fire behavior and fire danger expected going into the next couple of days, both with any new starts that develop, but also with the recent lightning, we could see some holdovers in these areas. Temperatures on Friday will actually be some of the coolest temperatures of the week. We'll see highs mostly in the 80s across the region with the exception of the far south, and even some highs only in the 60s in the far north with that moisture moving across central Idaho and western Wyoming. You can see for thunderstorm potential, aside from what's moving through Friday morning, we'll see decreasing lightning activity by the afternoon, but still some potential in Utah and up north. And then by Saturday, we'll see drier air really across almost the entire area with the exception of maybe central Idaho, which could still have a few showers or thunderstorms, but much lower fire potential up there with the moisture that's moving up. Otherwise, we'll see low to moderate fire potential across the region, and this will continue to get more critical as we go through the weekend and early next week with drier and warmer weather. Winds will decrease across western and northern Nevada on Saturday, but still be gusty over parts of southern eastern Nevada into Utah, but not as strong as what we'll see on Friday. Most of those gusts kind of in the 25 to 30 mile per hour range, maybe some gusts to 35. However, relative humidity again remains in those single digits to low teens down south, and up in Idaho and Wyoming is the only area that will remain in some spots above 15 or 20%. Temperatures on Saturday will increase a couple of degrees from what we'll see on Friday, with highs mostly in the mid to upper 80s, low 90s. And then any lightning potential will be very minimal on Saturday. 3-day forecast amount of precipitation, you can see the more widespread wetting rain potential up in central Idaho and even western Wyoming. A lot of that kind of north of the horse fire, but still some good precipitation across the north. And then in Utah, be more spotty, but mostly tied to the higher elevations where we'll see some areas of wetting rains in some spots. Otherwise, drier conditions are really over much of western and southern Nevada, with any showers and thunderstorms even over southern Nevada and eastern Nevada today being very spotty with any precipitation. The general weather pattern for the Sunday through Wednesday time period, you can see generally dry air in place. There's still weak troughing off the west coast, which will continue. Maybe some breezy winds, but not as strong as what we'll see here over the next couple of days. So pretty quiet weather going into the Sunday, Monday time period with just increasing temperatures and drying conditions going all the way through the middle of next week. We may see that next return of some moisture from the south moving up into Utah, maybe mid to late next week. So mostly dry conditions until that point. So no high risk on our 7-day significant fire potential outlook from Sunday through Wednesday, but just gradually increasing that area of moderate risk across many areas of the Great Basin. No changes in the 7-day precip from what you saw in the 3-day, since everything's really happening here in the next few days. And then the 8 to 14-day outlook shows warm and dry conditions for that July 10th through 16th period. We will only really have pulses of monsoon moisture that move up into parts of the eastern areas of the Great Basin, going through at least mid-July, if not the third week in July, and most likely bringing some periods of showers and thunderstorms followed by longer periods of drying and warmer weather. So again, no significant deep monsoon moisture to move up into the basin consistently yet. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.